I've tried to stay out of the whole glasses for a monitor market for quite a long time now, simply because I didn't really find much of a need for them in my everyday life. It isn't like this is AR technology in the sense that it adds like a Jarvis interface from Iron Man into my sight with all these cool menus and stuff. AR glasses, as they are today, like this that I'm wearing here, are simply glorified display extensions. That's how I describe it. There's nothing wrong with that, too. But if you already have like a large and sharp, beautiful gaming monitor or a television, it might not make the additional cost to get a pair of glasses like this worth it for you. I did eventually bite on this, the RayNeo Air 4 Pro glasses, simply due to one huge distinguisher: the price. I'm actually going to take this off because it's kind of hard to see, but this is my full review of the RayNeo Air 4 Pro right now. Let's talk about this. Retailing at $299, I bought them at launch for $250. At this price range, it's an easier pill to swallow as an introduction to this space. I have a Valve Steam Deck, which many gamers love using these types of glasses with, so I figured, heck, why not give it a shot? While the 4 Pro may not be the top of the line in terms of specs and performance for a pair of, I guess, this type of AR glasses out there, it does handle pretty much the same type of function as any pair of projection glasses providing users with currently. The 4 Pro pushes out a large portable display, I guess you can say, right in front of your eyes while also providing a private audio experience through an open ear format. If this was the 90s or the 2000s, I would have loved something like this for air travel. I would have been over the moon to have one of these in this high of resolution on trips I was spending on a plane with myself as a kid. I say high resolution because RayNeo actually does throw in an extremely respectable sharp HDR10 AR display into these rather cheaply priced glasses. In fact, RayNeo says these are the world's first HDR10 AR glasses. You can, of course, turn HDR off, but you can also toggle a few different settings and options and have an SDR to HDR conversion in general. For me, HDR is really only suitable for certain types of content I have in front of my eyes. For example, I didn't really find the image to look that good in HDR while I was watching certain music videos from YouTube here. On the flip side of things, playing a game with a wider gamut range of colors and tones and darker tones, I actually did see the benefits of what HDR10 implementation could do compared to a standard viewing. Is HDR10 a main selling point for me personally? I don't know. I didn't really think so based on the media that I've been consuming on it, but that might be different for you. The glass on these glasses pushes out a 1080p resolution per eye using dual 0.6-inch micro OLED panels. These specs are average to what a competitive viewing experience for gaming would require with a brightness of up to 1200 nits and a refresh rate of up to 120 hertz. We'll talk a little bit about that later. I'll go more into the gaming aspects a little bit later on as well, but what you need to know about the viewing experience is that the image from the Air 4 Pro is quite sharp, and especially considering the aggressive MSRP price tag, I do think that this is a little bit of a steal here in the pricing. While RayNeo advertises that these glasses project out like a massive 201-inch virtual screen in front of the wearer at a 3 to 6 meter range, don't go into this expecting to see like this magical huge theater screen appear right in front of you. That's not how it is. In reality, it feels as if I'm viewing a monitor of about 28 to 32 inches at an arm's length from my face, kind of like what I have in front of me right here on my monitor. You do not have the ability to expand the distance in which the virtual display can project from your eyes in the distance. The field of view here is 47 degrees, which I think is actually more than sufficient for gaming and media consumption, though. Then the audio experience is provided by Bang & Olufsen through 4 built-in speakers. There are a few modes to toggle through, including like a whisper mode that supposedly makes a difference in tighter spaces for privacy where it sounds like someone's whispering, so it's softer. I personally felt like all 3 of the modes were good enough for isolating noise to the wearer within a reasonable expectation. I wore this pair of glasses to bed while my wife was watching television next to me, and while my volume levels were around like 60% or so, and it's comfortable enough for me to hear all the stuff in my ear, she claims she couldn't make out the noises coming from the speakers out of my end here. While there obviously will be leakage due to this being open ear format kind of form factor, I thought RayNeo did a good job finding a compromise between the sound isolation and the volume level needed to have an enjoyable experience. I haven't used this in a public setting where ambient noises could potentially drown out the projected audio from the glasses, but at least in a private environment with someone else interacting with the resources in my room that I'm in, I did find that the volume was clear and it was satisfying. The Air 4 Pro gets power through its connection to the host device via a USB-C cable. There's a USB port on one of the arms. This removes the need to charge the glasses, which is convenient for travel as it's one less thing to plug in at night. On the flip side of that, you'll always have a cable tethered behind your ear, hooking up the glasses to the device like a smartphone or a tablet. That usually means you'll be occupying the sole USB-C port on the host device, leaving it unable to be charged and at the same time. That also means that the host device will draw more power as it will be powering an additional piece of hardware, and the battery life will likely see some reduction or a significant reduction depending on what you have. From experience, my Steam Deck is notorious for overheating when playing certain games that may kind of push its limits graphically. I absolutely saw the Air 4 Pro attribute additional stress to quicken that strain to the point where the deck actually, I did see this, the deck actually crashed and restarted after only about like 30 or 40 minutes of gaming on it with these glasses. The single port issue could also potentially be worked around though using a Qi charger or like a MagSafe peripheral to charge the device while the Air 4 Pro occupies that sole single USB-C slot. I did try this while watching Netflix by plopping my phone onto like a MagSafe charger so it's charging wirelessly on the back while I was being plugged in with the Air 4 Pro through the USB-C port, and the phone did charge and continue playing my show. So that's something you could try to do to go around it. However, unless you're willing to bring along dongles or like a Qi charging puck to slap onto the back of the phone or whatever with MagSafe, it's likely that the glasses will have a finite amount of time with the device during each session, depending on the battery life of that host system. For me, that was okay because I did have some fatigue wearing the RayNeo glasses. While these glasses were comfortable and I guess relatively light when seated on my face, I did struggle to find the right level of balance for like total comfort. With a Wayfarer-esque design, these types of glasses are naturally a bit chunky and back heavy on the ears. The 4 Pro allows you to adjust the hinge points of the arms in a few different angles that basically tilts the lenses either down or up in your peripheral view. If I'm laying in bed and wearing them, I usually do adjust it so the arms are tilted downwards, so it's like going down. If I'm standing or sitting straight up, I try to keep the glasses parallel and flat. I would judge that the viewing experience of the Air 4 Pro is a case-by-case scenario. For example, let's jump into this performance stuff. I had a joyful and extraordinarily immersive experience playing a cinematic narrative like this game called Mixtape using these glasses paired with my Steam Deck. For a game that heavily relies on cinematic camera motions, art design, and a soundtrack-driven mood, glasses like these totally enhance that vision. I didn't feel like I was just watching a movie on a television screen or playing a game on my mobile portable handheld. Instead, I felt like I was an omnipotent observer interacting with events that are unfolding in front of my vision. Games like Mixtape mix really well with glasses like the RayNeo. Now, on the flip side to that, I have since abandoned using these glasses to view media that requires my line of sight to be heavily invested in the lower portion of the display to read subtitles. The reason for that is I think likely due to the physical fit in relation to, I guess, the distance of the pupil that the image is shown. Since you can't physically adjust the pupil distance from the projection of that the image does fall into like a sort of eye box. It makes like an eye box, which then makes some of the edges and corners of the frame seem blurry. I was excited to go through some of my old backlogs of RPGs on Steam using the Air 4 Pro when I got it, but I quickly stopped enjoying it after a few hours with this game called Metaphor Refantasio. I think that's what it's called. It's basically like this weird kind of spin-off of Persona. That game specifically has characters dubbed with what I would gently describe as a variety of distinct English accents that, to me, is difficult to always process in a sea of dialogue.
Now he's got the father's blood on his hands. And if that king-slaying fiend ends up on the throne, we're all doomed.
The subtitles do help a lot, and I tend to have them on for everything nowadays, even movies and television shows in my native language of English. It all boils down to the fact that I just couldn't find a perfect spot to rest the glasses on the nose of the bridge of my nose to give me the optimal viewing experience to be able to read these things and visually focus on all the spots of the screen as needed for the frame. As somebody who doesn't require glasses to utilize a 20/20 vision in real life, I can also report that I did feel eye strain after a while, constantly trying to focus on reading text while wearing the 4 Pro. I would say it's as if you were conducting an eye exam at your doctor's office and reading off of a board in the distance. Reading text off of a virtual projected distance absolutely has, I would say, different viewing experiences than reading text off of like a physical screen, like a television and an OLED monitor or something like that in that similar viewing ratio. The last thing to cover when talking about these glasses is about the environment and the light. RayNeo includes a clip-on lens, kind of like a blackout shield. I have that right here. It looks like this. You can completely just snap on and it should block out the external views from the virtual display. Light still seeps in through around the frame of the glasses, of course, as this isn't like a tight seal around your eyes or anything like that. What it does help with is it functions as like a dark backdrop screen for the virtual projection to sit onto so that you can view the image in relatively clear brightness, even with like a brightly lit external environment behind you or in front of you. You can use this in the direct sunlight and still see a clear picture with this clip-on blocking the light. Without the clip-on, I still thought that the 4 Pro did a good enough job of getting bright enough to still provide a clearer picture, but up to 1200 nits of perceived brightness in this manner is a bit different than, say, that exact number on an OLED screen on a television in a distance like about where my arm's length is. At a retail price of $299, the RayNeo Air 4 Pro manages to land in at an incredibly compelling sweet spot for customers. While the inability to fine-tune the virtual display distance or scaling is a bit of a compromise because of this price point, and finding that perfect nose bridge balance can be a struggle for certain people, kind of like me, these are relatively minor complaints when weighed against what is an otherwise remarkably sharp and impressive viewing experience, and that matters a lot. If you're looking to get into one of these glasses as a monitor type of product and strictly value visual quality and getting the best value for your money, then I do think the RayNeo Air 4 Pro is likely the right choice to explore. Once again, I'm Alex from the Hypnotics. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of the RayNeo Air 4 Pro and its price point. I would love to hear you guys in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button for a lot more reviews coming up soon. And visit Hypnotics.com for more reviews. I'll see you guys next time.